evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Vobes show. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Richard Vobes. I'm here live on the 22nd of November 2019. Yes, it's me, the old Vobie one-eyed Kenobi. And I'm here, ladies and gentlemen, of course, to say to you, wonderful people, don't forget, as we launch our Vobes manifesto, you can vote for Vobes. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can vote for Vobes. In the new election coming up, I'm going to tell you exactly what we're going to give you when you vote for Vobes in the show. In fact, to be honest with you, you can have whatever you bloody well like. If you vote for me on the 12th of December 2019, you can have whatever you damn well please, basically, because in order to compete, you have to give away the world, the universe, everything, even 42 itself. And that's what we need. First of all, of course, I just need to make sure that you can all hear and see me and that everything is all working and that Eric down there is winding up the clock in the anti-clockwise direction. If you can't hear me, I'll just try and move the microphone in just a tad more so you get some more of that timbre from my voice, which would be lovely. Joe Merchant says he will vote, which is fantastic. Linda Kane says, looking very scrubbed tonight. Yes, thank you very much. Says, I've been scrubbing myself. The man, the hands, the legend, says Robert Croser, which is nice. Andy Stacey is out there. He says, good evening to you, Richard. Good evening to you. Evening all, says Tim Williams. Lovely to have you there. Jeff Killison says, I want your red clown hat. There we go. It's up there in the background. Laura Riddle says, you sound like Jeremy Corbyn. I don't know who that is. Laura says, sorry, that was Lara. Laura says, I will vote for you if you would do a better job. I would do my utmost to do a better job, ladies and gentlemen. Richard says, where do you stand on the important issues, though? I have a list. You can't see it. There are words on the page. There are words on that page, ladies and gentlemen. Can we write Richard Vobes on the paper? Yes, of course, you can write Richard Vobes. Here we go. That's how you do it. That's how it's spelled. R-I-C-H-A-R-D-V-O-B-E-S. V for Victor, O-B-E. One day, you never know. S for sugar. Very odd broadcasting, entertaining service. That's the Vobie one-eyed Kenobi. Julia Hartley has just arrived. She says, what did I miss? I've just about to launch into my manifesto, ladies and gentlemen, and you can vote for the Vobes. Vote for the Vobes. It's going to be fantastic. Absolutely amazing. I just need some sirens and some candy floss and, the sort of little things that they throw at weddings whatever that is, the confetti. There we are. Confetti. That's what we need. Ed Loud says, I've got the same blazer. I feel like I've made it in life now. Well, of course. This is a very nice blazer. It's got the star-spangled stars. It's got the galaxy, basically, on the inside. And the brain of the universe up there on top. So he says, legendary. Kevin looks like Jeremy Corbyn, apparently. Yes, actually, Kevin could be Jeremy Corbyn's stand-in, couldn't he? Barbara Charles says, Vobes is in my house every day. Do you know, that is a worry, isn't it? That I could actually be in people's houses almost every day. Now, that is a concern that would naturally take you to the doctor with mental disabilities at some point. I would vote for you, Richard, a man of sense and good taste, says Andy Dalglish. Thank you so much. What a lovely bloke. Robert, wash your mouth. What has Robert said? I've obviously just missed that. Could have said Boris Johnson, he said. Which Vobes? Just Richard, yes, just tally-ho, says Ernie. Hello, Ernie, lovely to see you. Very kind of you to pop by on this cold, miserable, slightly damp, dark winter's evening here in November on the 22nd. The salty train spotter says, he said something very rude and it's been retracted. Or is that, what is it that they used to say? Redacted. That was the word, redacted. I always thought that was good. So there we are. So what are our policies tonight? Well, I can tell you they're going to be quintessentially English. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. You will find that there will be no muddiness with me. Everything will be clear. I won't muddy the waters in any shape or form. And in actual fact, I've got a glass of water here, which I shall have. And whereas other parties have put them on great slabs of rock in the past, their pledges, I shall put them on a tile, ladies and gentlemen, on a tile. A mile-high tile that we will cement up on my forehead or something. Tim Williams says, I'm voting for Philip Mercer. Well, Philip Mercer, of course, what if he were alive today? Because, he was writing in the 1830s, so I don't know. He may still be behind a desk somewhere in a garret, writing his latest Tales of Old Hampshire, Tales of Old Dorset, Tales of Old Cumbria, I believe he is potentially working on. And we may see some of these stories that he's been scribbling away at appear at some point in the future when he allows me. It seems to be he's only allowing me a copy of the book. Which bone is that, Linda, says the Veg Grower podcast. So has Linda got a bone to pick with Mr. Suggett? Yes, I'm not surprised, because Mr. Suggett seems to be in on the ruse. No muddiness. Have you seen this fellow's walking boots? Yes, I know there is mud. There is a lot of muddy stuff on there. But hey ho, Dickie Vobes will do his best to ensure that we get the mud off and everything is nice and clean. So it means not getting drunk then, says Francesco Bellringer. No drunkenness today. Now, in the show, in between the manifesto, ladies and gentlemen, which we're going to tell you about when you, when you vote for Vobes on the 12th of December 2019, and we get everything done, never mind just one thing, we get everything. Everything will be done, believe you me. And when we vote for that, in between, we will have some other quintessential characters that we will present to you, ladies and gentlemen, including Kevin and the lovely Claire Leach down in Lewis, having a look at the loo, having a dump, which is interesting. We also have a video. No, do we only have one video? No, we have another video. Oh, yes, we have some bell ringing tonight, ladies and gentlemen. The bells will be ringing for the vote. That's what it shall be ringing. And that is Fraser. I hope Fraser is out there. Linda Kane says, Richard, you know very well, friend has a book indeed. Oh, so I know nothing about it. You've been watching too many YouTube videos, I think, Linda. Far too many. Judy says, I think you'd do a much better job than our present politicians. You're very kind. I probably cock everything up just as them, to be honest with you, with all the pressures and everything else. But there we are. One does one's best. One has to. Richard says, Linda, my friend does have a book. My friend being Monsieur Le Verbe, Dickie Vobes. So there we are. Vote Tom Scott, says Francesco Bellringer. I don't know who Tom Scott is, but you're obviously ringing the wrong person. So, yes, let us start with the economy and energy on my manifesto, ladies and gentlemen. The economy and... so on the economy, obviously, I think we're going to have to economise, but not very much. In fact, instead of economising, I think we should all just buy as much stuff as we can. Doesn't matter whether we need any of it. We're going to encourage you to buy everything by basically making everything pretty much free. In fact, we are going to, on my party, we're going to give you the keys to the shops. So in order to bring back shops into the high street, because everybody says they need shops in the high street, we're just going to give you the keys to those shops. So no matter how those rich and nasty shopkeepers who seem to have all the money, we're going to give you the keys so that you can go in at any time of day or night and help yourself to whatever you damn well please. Because I think that's only fair for those very poor, working hard people who don't have very much. After all, the billionaires, the millionaires, the Richard Vaubenaires, they all have everything, don't they? And it's only fair that you would have the key, not only to the city, not only to the town, but everywhere. You could have the key to the sewer if you so wished. You could nip down there and grab a few rats, bung a bit of salt and pepper on them, be very nice, sprinkle a little bit of brown urine on it, and you'd be in luck. It'd be lovely, very, very tasty. So we're going to give you the keys, I think, on the economy so that you can actually have whatever you damn well please. And that is really our slogan. Whatever you damn well please will be the slogan when you vote for Vobes. Whatever you damn well please. That's it. You can help yourself as much as you like to whatever it is that you want. If you want a nice new car, and let's face it, we all want a nice new car, don't we? We do. We're entitled to it. My goodness, we breathe air, don't we? We're entitled to these things. I mean, I open my eyes in the morning. Surely that is enough to entitle me to go out and have a brand new car, whatever it is. A Merc, one of those big Land Rovers, a Porsche, I don't know, whatever you call it. Whatever these thing. Instead of, your little bicycle and your little clips and nipping down to the allotment, we don't want to do any of that. No, no, no. I think everybody would just be entitled. They'll just be able to walk in onto the forecourt and drive away in that car whenever they like. And do you know, you'd be able to park your car wherever you damn well please. That is the logo, that is the slogan, that is the myth, and that is our manifesto tonight, ladies and gentlemen. When you vote for Vobes, bing, bing, when you vote for Vobes, you can go wherever you damn well please. And actually, it doesn't matter, if your car, we're going to make sure that you can have these big gas guzzlers. That's another important thing on our manifesto. You can have the gas guzzlers, whatever you want. We don't care if you pollute the environment as much as you like. You can pump out that as much as you like, because to be honest with you, we're going to be taxing fuel, because we've got to pay for these things, all these things. The money doesn't just grow on a money tree, does it? Or the money forest. No, it doesn't just go anywhere. So we're going to tax. So fuel, obviously, we're going to put about 752,000% on fuel. So if you can afford it, which of course I'm sure you will, because it's for the working classes, you'll be able to afford it. You can pollute the atmosphere as much as you like when you've got these big gas guzzlers on your drive, it's provided that you can actually afford to run the cars. But, don't worry about that, because you can do whatever you damn well please. And that is the main thing. So that's to do with that. And as far as energy goes, oh my goodness, we're going to go green. We're going to go greener than green. What's greener than green? I mean, we're going to be luminous green. Every building will be painted in green paint, just to remind you that we are in fact green. And in fact, we're going to take any landscape that you can see, any landscape that is already green, we're going to put some concrete on it, and we're going to slap green paint all over it. That's what we're going to, because we're going to build loads of houses, more houses than you can ever think of. In fact, we're going to build so many houses that you will not even have to trouble yourself with walking on that wet, dewy grass in the mornings, because there'll be lovely, nice concrete on there for you to walk on, and there'll be all these wonderful houses which will paint green. So, if you walk into them, bang, like this, you'll know that you've walked into a house, and it won't be too painful, because these houses will be so energy efficient. Yes, we're not going to put windows in them, you see, because windows, the glass can let the energy go through, and we don't want any of that nonsense, do we? We don't want you to suffer the ignominy of whatever that means, of the ignominy of heat going through the glass. So actually, we will not have any windows whatsoever in those houses at all. That also saves you having to look out on your neighbour, because your neighbour will be about here if you were able to open the window. And we won't be opening those windows that we don't have, because if you do have a window, of course, not only will it be window taxed, but there will be opening the window tax, because we've got to pay for all of this. You do understand that. It does have to be paid for a little bit. And so we're going to be, anybody who opens their front door, there is opening the front door tax. Anybody who walks on a pavement, they'll be walking on the pavement tax. Don't worry, we will not be taxing fresh air, as people often laugh and say, oh, next, Mr. Vobes, you'll be taxing the fresh air. No, 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 of course we won't be taxing the fresh air, because there won't be any fresh air, because all these diesel particulates will be pumping into the atmosphere as much as we like. In fact, we're going to ask all the Chinese who are pumping all that, we want to know how they do it, how they pollute the atmosphere, and we want to get them over here, because we're going to build this great green economy where we've got carbon capture everywhere. We're going to be people running around with these carbon capture nets. Not that they'll be able to run very far, of course, because there'll be too many buildings and all these cars sitting about not actually going anywhere, because nobody could actually afford the fuel to go in it. But, this is the great new future that we're going to be having, and you can be part of. We're going to spend millions, billions, trillions, Richard Vobillions on all of this. And don't worry, it will be paid for somehow on the Never Never. You've heard of the HP. My goodness, it was good enough for Littlewood's catalogues, wasn't it, back in the day? It was fantastic for those old magazines. Remember the Wanna-Do who'd sell you some money and all of that? Oh, we'll have all of that. Payday loans, you'll have more than payday. You'll have pay-minute loans, ladies and gentlemen. It'll be fantastic. You just go in there, borrow as much cash as you like. We're going to give you suitcases, lovely cardboard suitcases that you can just fill with as much cash as you like. and we'll have every street will have a cash dispenser just permanently squirting money out at you. It'll be liquid money. We don't want to print money anymore. That would be stupid. We'll just have liquid gold spurting out of those machines, spewing over you, covering you in gold. You'll be loving it every last minute, because you, of course, are very special people. You know, you out there, you poor people who've had it all so hard done by in the past. We are going to make it absolutely amazing for you, because you know you can have whatever you damn well please, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So don't forget to vote for Vobes in the manifesto. There's more in the manifesto coming up, ladies and gentlemen, but we're going to have a break. We're going to have a break from this too much goodness is coming to you. I mean, I can see your eyes are weeping, just like Lily Allen at the moment. Oh no, oh, I've never seen it. It's just amazing. The manifesto. Yeah, all pop stars, all those rich billionaire pop stars who've made so much money, huge amounts of money. Oh, they're going to be so much better off with my government there, because I'll be taxing them so much that if they so much as lift a finger to play a note of any music, we will be taxing them, because anybody who opens their gob will be taxed, because it's only fair, because we've got to pay for all this lovely luxurious lifestyle that we are promising for you. And of course we may or may not be able to deliver it, because let's face it, no one can ever really deliver on their manifesto, because we do admit that, but we will give you all this stuff, we promise, as long as you vote for us on December the 12th, 2019, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So let's find out who has sent in a video whilst we have a small break and I have a glass of water and take some more Valium, because I'm going to need it. Because after all, watching this, ladies and gentlemen, you can do whatever you damn well like. Let's go to another wonderful, quintessential Englishman and find out what is going on in the world with him. So I think, now how do I do this? I can't quite remember. I think we're going on to play a video.
Hi everyone, Kevin here, and just over here is
30-second video for you guys.
Claire Leach. And I've come on a little trip out today to see Claire down in Saltdean. But Claire has brought me out to a very special place, and she's taken me to the Lewis Priory and the Monk's Toilet. Can you believe it? She's brought me to a toilet. That's just about what she thinks of me. Let's go to see where someone has a dump. And there he is. He's having a dump. Anyway, it's overcast here. Hopefully, and it's freezing.
Bald Explorer walk here, perhaps between Christmas.
Well, clearly something's gone completely pot in the studio today. I do apologise. I think one of the other parties seems to be trying to do a bit of a nasty blackout with us. So I'm just going to see if we can programme that again. We should go over to Kevin and the lovely Claire Leach. Let's see if we can get that working this time on the show. I have been spending hours trying to programme this, but it has gone a little bit wonky. It's gone wonky, ladies and gentlemen, but that's nothing new. Let's try it again. Let's see if we've got Kevin there.
Hi everyone, Kevin here, and just over here is Claire Leach, and I've come on a little trip out today to see Claire down in Saltdean. But Claire has brought me out to a very special place, and she's taken me to the Lewis Priory and the Monk's Toilet. Can you believe it? She's brought me to a toilet. That's just about what she thinks of me. Let's go to see where someone has a dump. And there he is. He's having a dump. Anyway, it's overcast here and it's freezing.
Well, there we are. That was Kevin Hall and Claire Leach having a dump together in mixed toilets, I think that was. Let's go and have a look at the comments there. What do you do, Richard? You showed us 2 videos. Yeah, that was an error. That was an error of judgment, ladies and gentlemen, because after all, I was just being terribly generous, because, you should, you can have whatever you damn well please in today's show, and I thought I'd give you both videos at once. It was there to save you time, save you all that time of actually having to sit and watch several of those videos at once, which was a bit of a shame. Perhaps it was a metaphor, says Tim Williams. Yeah, probably a metaphor. Nigel Sadler says, but I'm not here. I'm in the theatre at Sevenoaks watching Fleetwood Mac tribute band. It's the interval, he says. Are you sure about that? I think you're cycling around in the vicinity of the Vobes, trying to sort of make sure everything's going all right for...
Hi,
hello.
everyone. Kevin here, and just over here is
Lost the...
Claire.
If I press the wrong
and
button...
I've come
Wait,
on a little
stop.
trip out today to see
I can't
Claire
get out of
down
it.
Saltdean.
There. Sorry. Stupid system. Who invented this? I tell you, when we're in power, things will be a lot better. It'll be a lot clearer. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the transport system. We're going to get rid of buses. Buses are no good because we know that somebody else likes buses, bendy buses. Not only are we not going to have bendy buses, we're not going to have squishy buses. We're not going to have flat buses. We're not going to have wide buses. We're not even going to have narrow buses. We're having no buses whatsoever, because you know the trouble with buses is one comes and then three come all at once, and we don't want any of that. So we're going to get rid of buses altogether. Everyone is going to be given a unicycle, a free unicycle, and you're going to have 10 years of unicycle lessons. I think that's important. 10 years. It'll be mandatory, of course, so that you can do that. But don't worry, you won't have to pay any tax on your unicycle. But, of course, if you've got pedals, you'll have to pay tax on pedals. Unicycles do have pedals, so that's double the amount of tax. You'll have pedal tax. And we will be the peddlers peddling it, which will be fantastic. It is a quintessential English tax that you're going to enjoy. And you'll be able to take these unicycles through any muddy paths, if you like, and up onto the tiles, and it's going to be superb. There we are. And that is a rule from Dickie Vobes. So it's all very interesting. So that's our transport scheme. Buses, trains, of course we're going to have trains. We've got to have HS2. Don't you worry about HS2. There's going to be HS3, HS4, HS5, HS6, HS6. So in between all these houses that we're going to build, on the top, we're going to have a whole load of train tracks here, there and everywhere. So then you'll be in your little uprised little place and trying to get to sleep. There'll be... and people will be on those trains because they won't be able to go in their cars. Let's face it, we've taxed them to death on all the fuel, but you will be able to travel on the trains, except of course every time you go through a door onto the train to get on the train, we will be opening the door tax. So, and of course there's the on and off tax. If you get on the train, there'll be a tax for getting on, and there'll be the getting off tax. So everyone wants a bit of off tax, and if you want to complain, then you have to go to off tax, and they'll be very happy to take your complaint. You get in a queue for about 6 miles long. You'll be issued with a ticket, and ticket number 4, please. And you'll come along, and of course every time you speak to one of our officials, there'll be a small tax for that because you've opened your mouth. That's the open mouth tax. So don't worry, you can have whatever you damn well please, because we're going to spend all this lovely money, and if there's any hint that we might be fleecing anything off the top with all this cash, please ignore it, because don't look in our big palatial houses. Absolutely essential you don't see how much money we spend on all the other luxuries that, of course, you will probably never be able to afford. Kevin's Ramble says we need Julia on there to keep him under control. Daniel says, what's this all about, Richard? No notice about the show. Could you please send me an email when you're doing the show? No, I'm afraid I can't. I haven't got time to do all that. I'm going to be running the country. Don't you understand? Oh, I've lost my vote screen now. Where's my vote screen? Vote for Vobes. It's gone. Hang on, that's very strange. Vote for Vobes has just vanished off my system. Oh, well, you'll have to vote for me in your own minds. That will be all right. Robert Croser says, what's he on about? What? I can't understand a word he's saying tonight. Dickie Vobes, your manifesto's as good as any of the other parties, says Andy Dalgleish. Yes, well, we've spoken about the environment, haven't we? What about animal welfare? I think animals are suffering all over the planet. We don't want animals to suffer, do we? So we're going to put them in vacuum-packed bags, squeeze all the air out of them, so then we're going to just hang them on the walls, hang them on the trees, hang them anywhere you like. And they'll be all round. You'll be able to see every animal you've ever liked squeezed up in a vacuum-packed bag and just dangling there for you to go and poke. They won't be able to run away. They're going to look fantastic, going to look superb, and you'll be able to go up there and stroke them. Obviously you won't catch any fleas because there'll be the plastic between them and you, but it'll be a superb way of getting that nature all about you. And not only that, they cannot defecate and they won't smell or anything like that, because they'll be in these special plastic bags which has taken all the air out of them and keeps them looking very fresh for years and years and years. There's no chance of them ever going off. So that's one of our animal welfare policies. Of course, people may want to have cats and dogs and all of that, but to be honest with you, really and truly, you won't be able to afford to feed them, because we will be taxing anything, any kind of pet food whatsoever. Bonios will have about 700% tax on it. Any kind of Whiskas super meat will actually, to be fair, the Whiskas super meat you will be able to afford, because that will be we're going to rebrand Whiskas super meat, and it's just going to be called human food. We're going to take the labels off. It's just called human food. And that really is the sort of diet we want to get everybody on, because it will be healthy. If we can control that, it will be nationalised. All food will be nationalised. We will produce it ourselves. All the food will be passed by the management, placed into tins and sent out with human food on it. And you'll be force-fed to eat that. You'll be given 1 spoon and 1 can a week. And that's what you're going to have to live on, because you won't really have time to eat anything else, because you'll be too busy paying those taxes left, right and centre in all that money and gold that will be spewing at you from the cash dispensers. Tim Williams says he's been on the real L again. No, I haven't. I've just been listening to what the opposition parties are putting out, and I thought I could probably do a little bit better. The Salty Train Spotter says, cut down the pills and calm down. Ed says that Bonios will be taxed. There goes my next UK album, U2 album. Yes, I'm afraid. Pink Floyd, that's going to be taxed. It will be rebranded as Red Floyd. And then there's Floyd toothpaste. There'll be fluoride toothpaste, which is quite nice. Kevin Ramble says she's probably got to tell him that that's enough. The Vobes population left the chat. Oh, well, I'm afraid the population will not be here by the end of the manifesto. And I haven't even started on the public services, what we're going to do with the NHS, the education, the police, the justice, the fire rescue, and broadband. Of course, not only will everybody have broadband, everyone will have rubber band. And we'll have 2 strings and a bit of can, and you'll be able to talk to people for absolutely free. You won't have to pay for that at all, although, of course, every now and again the string will break, and there will be a repair of the string tax, which will be an essential thing. Of course, then there's what we do with poverty. There's what we do with women. Of course, all women will have to be placed in all top jobs. Men will be placed right down at the bottom of the pile in the sewers with the rats that will be eaten at lunchtime. There is, I don't know what that was. Migration. Oh, yes, of course. What we aim to do is put all the current population in probably on the Isle of Man. The phone is ringing now. Everything is going. They're all trying to contact me. You see what it's like? That's Boris Johnson on there. I've had who was it on there? Oh, Mr. Corbyn's on there. I'm sorry, I can't answer the phone. It's all too much. It's all too exciting for me, because the election is coming up on the 12th of December, and it's got to happen. It's got to take place, and it will take place. So that's all very good. We're coming up to the end of. Oh, there we are. I'm going to get someone leaving a message now. You can't really hear that. Fulham 1, QPR 1, breathe. No, they're left to work. I've got a video for the show, says Daniel Bricks. That's very marvellous. Please stop and pay attention to us. He says, this is how it works, you see. No one really wants to listen to everybody else when there's the manifesto and there's the election to be won. Your views, of course, don't really count, because whatever you say, we're just going to say, yeah, no, it'll be fine. We'll do all that. We're going to do everything. It's going to be fantastic. Time now, as we get to halfway through the show, to end the manifesto, ladies and gentlemen. You'll be very pleased to know that is now over. You will be able to vote, I'm sure, for one of the parties. Make sure it's mine, of course. It will be the best party going. We're going to have balloons, ladies and gentlemen. And you'll be able to take those balloons away. Of course, there's a small tax when you do, but they will be there. And if you've blown in the balloons to blow them up yourself, we'll be taxing you for that. That's the end of the manifesto. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Back to the Vobes show now, and the normal service will be responded. You'll be pleased to know I've got that off my chest. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I shall go back. That was Julia ringing. It's very nice. She's a lovely girl. I'm going to show you some photos, ladies and gentlemen, from the lovely Elaine Brazier, who has sent some in. So we now want you to see if you can identify these photographs. Let's see if this system works, see if we've got everything going. So this is the first photograph, ladies and gentlemen. Can you identify that? What is it? What is it? We are back to normal now, by the way. Normal service has been resolved. Keep calm and carry on, Richard, says D for Bricks. Thank goodness it's over. I was enjoying that, says Richard. Kevin Ramble says Richard's Sugget behave. Linda Kane says if he wins, we'll have to give him an acceptance speech. Fiona Cooper is saying phew. Well, says Lara, you've got my vote. Ernie says, Richard, there'll be a Christmas dinky poos with your viewers, maybe at the local. And Tim Williams says, can you repeat some of the policies? I missed them, which is very good. So there we are. Anybody know what that is? Is it a ferrule? I don't know what a ferrule is, but it's that's very good. Sally Transporter says, a pepper dispenser that you screw. Oh, that's very good, isn't it? Is it a pepper dispenser that you screw? Is it one? I have no idea. That is one of the pictures. We'll come back to that in a moment, ladies and gentlemen, because it's now time. It is now time in the show to have a little bit of bell ringing, and I've got to see if I can get this to work. Here is a little bit of bell ringing thanks to Fraser. I don't know where he did this, or indeed when, but just to relieve ourselves from the pressure that has been slightly building there. I know you've been trying to write down all the policies, and I will of course print out a bit of paper with some rubbish on it and put it up online so people can see it. But meanwhile, here is a bit of bell ringing for you.
That's some plain hunting after this.
Look to. Treble steering. Right.
Anyway, there's about 25 minutes of the bell ringing there. We can always go back and see how they're doing. That's the lovely Fraser there, ringing his heart out and apparently conducting at the same time, so he says. Fiona Cooper says that we live near the Holy Cross Church in Uckfield. I love listening to the bells ringing. Ding, ding, which is nice. Kevin says, I'm knackered just watching them. Phew! Yes, absolutely. It is hard work. Easy in reality, because the bells, to be honest, they're actually clockwork, and it does work it itself. The ropes just come down, and they're all puppets. They're just not real people. They're not real people at all. They're puppets that just look like, hello, hello. We got texts and all sorts of messages coming through. So that's very nice. What else have we got there? Richard, come on, didn't Ollie teach you? No, he didn't teach me anything. He just showed me where the bells were. He showed me some nice old chap there who rang the bells, and then we went off and made another video on something else, so I have absolutely no idea. Oh no, Julia is under the spell of the bells. Hells, bells, and buckets of blood. It's all very good. Hot water bottle stopper is what Andy Stacey is saying, apropos of. Oh yes, the pictures. Let's go back and have another little gander at the pictures and see if you know what this is. Here's a second view of the same thing. It's not terribly obvious from there, and here is a third view. A third view. Can you guess what that is? It's easy, apparently. No, it doesn't sound. No, it doesn't, Richard. Come on, says Francesco. Looks like a lot of blue ferrets darting up and down. That's exactly what it is, I think, Andy. I think you've got it absolutely right. And finally, there is the final picture. I think most of you got it. It is an old-fashioned bottle stopper from, I can't remember what it was now, ginger beer or something. The lovely Elaine Brazier sent that in, and well done to her. It's absolutely amazing, and we love it dearly. Let's go and have a look at the webcam. The webcam is facing here, where I've got a nice glass of gin going on. Oh no, beg your pardon, it's water. So that's not so good, is it? It's a shame because, when you're running a campaign to win the national election, you need something. Oh, hello. Oh, no, it's all right. So what was it? Oh, a vulcanate. Yes, that's right, Linda Kane. It's a vulcanate stopper. It's what they put in volcanoes. It looks very small in that picture, but don't be deceived because it isn't. It's actually quite huge. There's about 400 men that get round this thing and they screw them into the volcanoes. That's why we haven't had so many eruptions recently. It's absolutely true. As soon as a new volcano arrives, and we know for a fact now that a lot of science has proved that volcanoes are in fact just giant molehills, that the moles have leapt out, warmed its bottom and scarpered, and so the governments of various different countries like Rio de Janeiro, they make sure they have those vulcanites because they get the Vulcans. And I think this is one of Spock's plans, that he came up with this Archimedes screw effect, that you get the vulcanized thing and you shove it in like that. I think they read about it in the War of the Worlds when the cylinder crashed and the lid started to unscrew, and they realised, that would be perfect to stop volcanoes. If only they had that in Pompeii, eh? That would be lovely. They had hay in Pompeii, yes, and they had May in Pompeii. That was all good. They didn't have a lot of pay in Pompeii, but they had a lot of volcanic dust that came down and it froze them in space, and you can go and visit them over there in Pompeii, but don't touch them because they have that habit of just turning into dust, which is a shame. So there we are. Glass of whiskey, says somebody. Fran says, no, this is actually water. It's just water. Sorry about that. Fiona Cooper says, I was trying to say gobstopper. Oh, yes, I probably need one, to be fair, but unfortunately somebody's unleashed the Vobes tonight in a way that you never knew was possible, and he's been gabbling ever since. I'm going to have a nice lie down after the show. Have no fear, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's time to get on our bicycles, don't you, and have a look and see what Nigel Sadler, he says he's up there in London or somewhere watching some theatricalities going on. He's watching all the thespians. I said thespians, not the other one. Let's go and see what he's up to. Hang on a minute. I've got to get in there and work out how this works. Here we are. This is the lovely Nigel. I think this is going to be Nigel. Let's see if this works.
Hello, this is Nigel Sadler, and this is a 30-second video for you guys in the Vobes show. It's a Thursday afternoon and it's dry, so I'm taking my off-road cycle route home. I usually get most of Thursday afternoons off, so it's an opportunity doing it in daylight. I'm on National Cycle Route 12, which is also known as the Tudor Trail, and this is my favourite bit because there is a lovely view here of the River Medway and all the autumn colours. Hopefully we'll do a Bald Explorer walk here, perhaps between Christmas and New Year. Have fun, bye.
Nigel Sadler there, not to be confused with the one who does the cooking, whose name now completely escapes. Slater, there we are, Nigel Slater. He's not Nigel Slater, although it would be good if Nigel Sadler started cooking on his saddle, and then he could be Nigel Sadler Slater or something. Pass on that one. Anyway, Mark Selwood says he's also heard there was quite fey in Pompeii. That's true. That's true to the day in Pompeii. And that's what I say when I visit Pompeii, which is all very good. Pompeii, of course, is not quintessentially English by any means. It is, I don't know where it is actually. Where is Pompeii? It's another part of the world. It's obviously of no significance or consequence to me, because all that evolves around me is the Vobosphere. And that's the most important thing that you can see. D for Bricks is saying, good, a moment when the Vobes is quiet. Yes, that must be when he's asleep. Yes, I do talk in my sleep, which is nice. Kevin Ramble says, Linda Kane, have you ever been left waiting for someone to arrive home that you were going to visit when it was arranged? Yes, it's terrible, isn't it? It must be an awful thing. Poor old Kevin, wherever he goes, people hear that he's actually turning up, and then they quickly hide under the covers and lock the doors, turn the lights out and pretend there's nobody in, and they wait until he gets as far as Storrington on the way home, and then they call him and say, oh Kevin, oh what a shame, did I miss you, were you coming round, oh you should have texted me in the morning and reminded me, because I have 101 million other things to do, you know, apart from just make sure that I'm in. He did promise to come and do my painting up the old aisle there, up the stairs and things. And he said, no, I'm not doing that no more. Doing it over Christmas when I've got holiday time. I'm not coming to waste my work with you, he said. Hello there, Richard. Kevin here. Hello. Through the letterbox. Non-stop it was. Through the letterbox. Hello, Richard. Kevin here. Let me in. Kevin here. You know, Kevin with a beard. Looks like Corbyn. Kevin here. Corbyn here. Hello, Richard. Corbyn here. What? Linda Kane says, none of my friends are so rude. No, exactly. None of my friends would be. None of my friends would hang about my house if I'm not there, pretending that we've got some engagement together. Francesco Bellringer says he's only joking. He says, you know too much about England. I don't know anything about England. That's the honest truth. Kevin Ramble says, Christmas for decorating. Yes, he's going to come in and paint Christmas trees and baubles and tinsel. Not what I ordered at all. Kevin is an absolute consummate gentleman. He is quintessentially English. And he has a book. He has a book, and he says, a bit like Peter and Jane, you're one of these dot-to-dot books. And he says, you know, this is my work. Open the book. Whatever you want, I will paint. It's very good, actually, his book. You know, you look in his catalogue and it's full of ideas. It's full of ideas of the things that he can decorate your house with. And it's quite a comprehensive book that he's got, Kevin. He's a painter and decorator, you see. So you'll come round your house and you'll sit down and he'll say, you know, this is a nice house. Yes, there's a lot of potential here. All right, there's a lot of potential here, Richard. Oh, yes, Kevin here. I can tell you, I can do a lot. And then he says, have a look in my book. And you get his book, which is this amazing book. And he tells you, you know, he says, anything in my book you can have. And you open it up and it's true. You can have white. You can have off-white. You can have green, pink. You can have yellow. He's got all those colours in his book. It's a big colouring in book. And that's what you'll get if you have Kevin come round and do a job. It's all I can do. I can do Pantone 303, if you like, which is a sort of light blue. Or I can do sky blue pink with yellow dots on, if you so wish. I can make my paint stripy. I can make it splattered. I can do all sorts of stuff. He's very clever. He's very clever. As long as you get him up on a ladder with a plank. And he loves that sort of stuff. He says, I was up your back passage yesterday. Yes, I know, and I haven't been able to sit down for a week. Mark Selwood, on the other hand, he says, my worst fear is having Matthew Holdsworth on my doorstep. Oh, and do tell why. I'd be very interested in that. Linda Kane says Kevin Ramble's fear is... it's gone. Where did Linda Kane go? Linda Kane suddenly retracted her message. What was that about? Salty Train Spotter has said, we need some bell ringing where with actually method of saying rounds, please, what? Should we see some bell ringing where we the actual method... I don't know what you're talking about now. You've lost me, I'm afraid. That's like cyber something. Mark Selwood says, you're welcome at my house anytime, Kevin. It's a bit of a long way down there to Cornwall, but it is well worth it. You want to go up and see the old Croser? He's even closer up there in Cumbria. It's a nice part of the world. How are we doing on the time front? 45 minutes done, which is great. Now, in the show today, I've been saying words, a number of words, which, of course, you've been suggested by your good self. And I'm wondering if any of you have spotted what those words were. If you do, then have a guess. I may have got some under the radar. Some were very easy. Some I haven't mentioned as many times as I ought to have done. I was supposed to have said them about 5 times each. Certainly one. But do you know which words I have been saying? It'd be nice if you gave that a little bit of a guess. I think I've only got one set of pictures, and we've done that, and we've had the videos, and we've had the bell ringing, so that's all of that stuff done. People are scratching their heads and thinking. No, manifesto wasn't one of them, in case you would think about it. The lovely Julia says, if I get a moment, she says she will try and get round to see D for Bricks in his Lego house down there in the Strand. Should we see some bell ringing where we see the method instead of saying rounds please every minute? We've no idea what rounds please. It's like, go in there and say, it's my round. We'll all be having bloody pints of beer, wouldn't we? That's what we do. Guild Care says, no, that wasn't one of the words. I don't think I've actually mentioned that word until just then, so that's not it. 1 till 4, that's also not one of the words that I've said, but good guess, very good guess, like that. Linda says, no, Kevin Ramble says, I couldn't get in his backyard. No, Kevin the story is quite simple. He's making a mountain out of a molehill. He texted me to say, I'm not coming to do your decorating because I can't be bothered. And then he said, but what I will do, I'm off to see somebody else. I'm going to come back and just, breeze in and have a cup of coffee. Have a cup of coffee at my expense is what he meant. And, of course, naturally, I did it. The best thing I could do, I got in touch with the University of the Third Generation. I said, here, how about if I come and do a talk to you so that I'm a million miles from this bloke who's going to nick my coffee off my shelf? Woman Festo, says Ed Loud. Yes, no, we should have had Woman Festo. We should have had a bit of mansplaining and woe-moaning. Woe-moaning, of course, is... well, I'd let you work that out. If mansplaining is what that is, woe-moaning is... Well, you think you can see that is... tax says... no, tax isn't actually one of the words that I was given. Door... No, door... They're just words I used. I did use those. D for Brick says, Richard, you need a swimming pool in your backyard. You did mention that in the YouTube video that you watched where I was in A Life in My Day. There's no room in my backyard for a swimming pool. What kind of swim would there be? It'd be like one of them and that's it. And Francesco Bellringer says, Richard, seriously, next time I'm in England, we'll invite Fraser and you can come to Pulborough and we'll explain it all to you. It's embarrassing what you know. What do you mean? What I don't know, you mean? Yes, no, it would be good. I would love to come and ring the bells in Pulborough. I think that would be rather nice. Pollution is not one of the words that I was given, no. That's why you hide the coffee. No, Richard Suggett drinks me out of coffee. I have to keep going. Actually, if you go over to Morrison's at the moment, £4.50 for a large jar of Dow Egberts. Just a word to the wise. And also, if you're in Morrison's, at the moment, the 300 gram of, I don't know who do it, not Cathedral City, but the other one, the creamy cheese, £1.50 for a slab. It's a bargain price. I've been there. I've bought several of them because they're normally about £3.50. They often do them at £2. Now they're at £1.50 currently as I record this. If you're watching this 10 years hence and you're sitting there on, I don't know, some hover vehicle and somehow YouTube has spat this old ancient video up at you, I wouldn't bother. Cheese is probably gone. You've all been taxed on it. Lovely Julia says, is one of the words vote? No, it's not. Vote for Richard Vobes. No, that was just on the spur of the moment. I was just listening to the news, hearing one of the parties had done a manifesto, and I just thought, that's so ludicrous, you couldn't beat it, could you? And I thought, yeah, actually, I could beat that, so I had a go. As anyone, Ed Loud says, Richard, that's what me and Grandad drink, and the jars are really useful and yeah, I would love to find more uses for the jars because I always feel terrible when I throw them away. Francesco says, no, I mean, it's embarrassing when you talk about ringing. You know so little. I know nothing about it, but then you know about it. You see, not everybody is a bell ringer, and so therefore, by default, they don't know anything about bell ringing. Let's face it, I mean, not that many people know about how to plaster a wall, and so therefore they're not, they're not surprised when people who don't plaster walls don't know exactly what the sort of gypsum quantity of how much water per a plaster of Paris they need in order to mix up the thing, like concrete mixers. I mean, who knows whether it's 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 or 5-to-1? We don't really know because we're not concrete mixers. And, you know, you being a bell ringer means that you have that knowledge and you can share that knowledge and tell people that that's like, you know, pulling the string is actually a different term than what I used. What else? Richard says is the word ludicrous. I don't think I actually used the word ludicrous at all, but that would be good. Green, no. Right, okay, so is the word stuff? No, I'm going to tell you what the words are because they came in. Anne Osborne asked me to say the word muddy. I did use the word muddy a couple of times, muddy the water and whatever. Kevin Orr said tile. Well, that was a difficult one to get in, tile. All the while, you could have a tile. I didn't say that very many times. A court appeal is one that I haven't mentioned at all, Fraser. I forgot completely to mention that one. Cheese, I've just mentioned cheese. And Dickie Vobes was another. That came in from the lovely Julia, I think. Oh, no, before lovely Julia, from somebody, from Fraser. But Lara, at the last moment tonight, ladies and gentlemen, gave me a real corker of one which I have used and nobody's guessed it whatsoever. So I think Lara is the winner on this, and that is quintessential. I've used quintessential or quintessentially, and I've mentioned that several times in today's show. You can check the tape, as they say. Not that it is on a tape, of course. It's such a stupid thing. But in the old days, you know, they would say, check the tape. And you can imagine someone... Quintessential English, quintessential English, absolutely quintessential English. So, yeah, I used that. I even used quintessential English around the Pompeii bits, so you can work that bit out. Stupid typo, I must have been plastered, says Ed Loud. Ah, bless you, I'm sure you weren't. And Mark Selwood says, I've inserted this comment from years from now. I can tell you what the future holds, but the rest of you will have to wait and find out, which is great. Yeah, and thanks, Mark, by the way, for last week's lottery numbers. And I've got them. And, of course, now I'm a multi-billionaire, so I can pay all those taxes that I'm anticipating giving everybody. So it's going to be fun, isn't it? What have we got? We got 8 minutes. So just so the manifestos are coming out. It is going to be fun watching what happens on the. It's all very laughable, which is why I went off in a big tangent there at the beginning. I don't know whether you noticed. You may not know because it may have just seemed like pretty much ordinary show, really. To you, you may have just thought, well, it's Richard's just being very normal. He's just his normal, quiet, self-effacing self, which is true. That probably was what I was doing. The salty train spotter and the bell ringer says, dong dong, for whom the bell tolls. We did all those, for whom the bell tolls. Was that Voltaire or somebody? John Donne or something? Dun, Din? I thought John Donne. Was it John Donne who was Queen Elizabeth's mystic man, wasn't it? She had a John Donne who was a right-hand man who did all the mystical alchemy in the old days, you know, alchemy. Even the bloke, who was the bloke who discovered gravity? What's his name? Newton Abbott. Was it Isaac Newton? Who discovered gravity? He came from Newton Abbott, actually, as it happens. No, I don't think he did. I think I just made that bit up. Because you mustn't listen to me, because clearly, you know, whatever I say is a complete and utter lie. And fabrication on life, which is much more fun than real life in most of the time. Don't know what I'm talking about. Hemingway. Oh, is it Hemingway? We were told John Donne the other night, for whom the bell tolls. Yeah, what are you doing over the weekend? What am I doing over the weekend or under the weekend? I'm not quite sure yet. Very busy, always busy. Me, busy. Busy bee. What have you got in the hive for me? That was an old circus routine that I used to do with a friend of mine, and I always used to get a whole face full of water. It was a comedy routine that nobody really understands, and no, not I do. Ed Loud says, quiet, I fear Julia's ears will disgrace. With what will disagree? Oh, yeah, Julia's ears. Julia knows the truth of what goes on in my life. She frequents this building quite enough times, as does Mr. Suggett, to be fair. And Mr. Kevin Hall, he's trying to be as frequent, but, of course, we're just trying to curb his interest because... He reminds me of a certain politician, and he refuses to shave his beard. Mind you, so does Mr. Suggett, and so does the lovely Julia, to be fair. Barbara Bachalas says it was the title of Hemingway's book, but Don said it first. Oh, there we are. For whom the bell tolls. Yes, there we are. Well, it obviously tolls for Fraser and Salty and all the other bell ringers. I don't know how I've managed to. Some performers seem to. Who's the woman in Over the Rainbow? The girl in Over the Rainbow. The one who clacked her feet together and said, "Come on, Toto, we're going home somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, flap, 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 flap. Birds fly over rainbow. Why, oh, why can't I?" What was that? Judy Garland. Thank you. Just made that up. Judy Garland. She was a gay icon now, isn't she? The sort of, if you're gay, and I don't mean just jolly, but if you're gay and you're all doing the doggy paddle, then that's probably inappropriate, isn't it? I apologise for that. I have to say that now because you can get axed, as soon as you open your gob, and taxed and taxed. Nobody wants to be axed and taxed and trussed up. Oh, blimey. So she was a gay icon, and I now seem to be. I'm not gay icon. I mean, I'm not gay, so that's that. But I obviously attract bell ringers. What is it about the Vobes that attracts bell ringers? It's very weird, It's a very strange, but I don't mind. I don't mind. Someone's got to attract them. I haven't, unfortunately, they're not pests. Bell ringers, they're not pests. They're lovely. Bell ringers are lovely. It's not like flies when you've got, fly traps everywhere or a fly spray. You can imagine a bell ringer trap. That would obviously, you'd have a bit of a bell with a Sally on it, and a bell ringer would come in and go, oh, look, there's a bell. And they pull it, and of course what happens, like that game Mousetrap. Have you ever played Mousetrap? Big cage just lands on their head. Easy way to trap a bell ringer, that, I think. Or, of course, you could have the bell ringer spray, what we could call a beringer spray, which freezes them in a sort of, probably like that. Freeze them in like that, which is quite useful because you can use them as hat stands. If you can freeze a bell ringer, there's 101 uses for a frozen bell ringer, frozen like that. You can use them as a hat stand. Obviously, you could put light bulbs into their hands. They'd be very useful as a light bulb holder. That would be very useful. Put umbrellas in there, which is good. Hot dogs, you could get hot dogs. No good for ice cream because it would melt naturally. So, answers on a postcard. If you can think of another use for a frozen bell ringer, having sprayed them with whatever it was I just mentioned a few minutes ago, I can't remember half of what the junk that comes out of my mouth, then that's good. Francesca says, I love your video of Sussex churches and the other things in Sussex. Years ago, he says, I got Frazzle whatever was Frazzle? I thought that was a top shelf magazine. That was never mind. Not that I remember that by any chance, but my youth and everything. Was interested in what I was taking him, and I mentioned I was watching it last week. Fancy. Those bell ringers you posted only knew one tune, says But. Yes, that's true. That I would like them to play the Star Spangled Banner. That would be quite nice. Or God Save the Queen. Or Jerusalem. And did those feet in ancient times bong, bong, bong. Bong diddy bong, bong, bong. And bong, bong, bong. Bong, 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 bong. Etc., which would be good. Or, be a bit more up to date with something like Senorita. I love it when you call me Senorita. Bong. How does that go? I can't remember the tune now. But I do love it when you call me Senorita. You can all call me Senorita from now on if you so wish. It's quite good fun. Anyway, we've come to the end of the show. Blimey, look at that. With 20 seconds to go. Somebody said at the beginning, I think it was Kevin Hall, he said, hello, 1 minute late. No, actually, I was hiding under the doormat, so you didn't see me. Francesca says, I love your video. I'd read all that. I've been watching you for years, says Francesca. Have you? For years and years. Bless you. Thank you so much. It's very kind of you. I originally thought Julia was your wife. Yes, and I know a lot of people do think that, and they ask, is she my partner? And I have to say the truth is, she is my on-screen partner. We partner up, we go out and we do stuff, but She isn't, so there we are. That's that. Have you a real ale? Oh, have a real ale on me, says Tim Williams. Thank you very much. I thought you were going to say have a real wife on me. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? No, stop mucking about. Yeah, another reason we need to teach you a bit, Richard. Bong, bong, ba 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 bong, 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 bong. Richard makes nonsense very enjoyable. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the show. I know it's been a bit crazy and a bit mad. It's been Friday and everybody can celebrate, and I've just been off on one, and I've only been drinking water, and that's absolutely goddamn truth. People know that I don't really drink very much. Marvellous stuff, says Andy Dalglish. Thank you, Richard. I hope it's been... It's put a bit of a smile on your face. Paul Smith, hello, lovely to you. He says, well, it's been interesting. Maybe not. Maybe I will be back to my normal self. Hopefully the manifesto infestation will have left me. I feel like I was possessed by, I don't know what that was, some sort of... something overtook my body and controlled my mind. Mind control, you know, ladies and gentlemen. It's an evil thing. So there we are. It has been interesting. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for everybody who's been in touch. Mr. Richard Suggett says he's enjoyed the show. Paul Smith says just outside the Charlatan Athletics. Hello, Paul Smith. Was just outside. I don't know what that means, but it's words. It's words with enough letters in there to make some coherence. Only this old brain is too tired to understand or even care. So there we go. Thank you so much for watching. It's been absolutely fantastic. I've enjoyed myself. I don't know whether you have, but I have. It's been a hoot. And I would say vote for Vobes, but probably not a good idea because we would be completely and utterly bankrupt. But, you know, you can have whatever you goddamn like. It's entirely up to you. Till the next time, probably on Monday. Can't guarantee it because I'm running around a bit. So the Mondays and Friday shows are impromptu. They may happen, they may not happen, but Wednesday at the moment is still solid gold. So check out for that. In the meantime, I've got to work out how I get out of this again. Oh yes, here we go. There's the intro button. Say thank you so much. You've been watching moi, Richardy Vobie, and thanks to all the patrons who support the channel and support what we do and all the money that they give, and especially for the Bald Explorer. It's all good stuff. Tomorrow I've got a bit of a lame video tomorrow, so I'm sorry about that, but it was wet and miserable, so it's a bit lame tomorrow, but we'll try and do better. Take care, one and all. Mark Selwood says work is a nightmare. Francesco says thanks for the show, and Linda Kane says been a bit of a blast night all, and good night from me. Take care and bye bye.